Before the video gets started, I just want to mention that around 2 minutes and 40 seconds, my mic decides to be a bitch and starts staticking a little bit. And also around 3 minutes, it changes mic, so you'll notice I'll probably get cut off a little bit and then I'll resume talking. So just bear with it. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Welcome to the breakdown for Malott versus Shimon Smotritsky in the welterweight division for Dana White's Contender Series week number 6. This is the main event. One thing though, immediately when I look at both fighters, you see Shimon, 21 years old, just a month ago actually, just turned 21. And in MMA, age is very odd. You have old fighters competing very well. You have young fighters competing very well, but you also have them complete opposite. You have younger fighters being, I wouldn't say out powered. When you get older, you feel into your body more. You eventually grow, obviously. And Shimon, although 6'2" and fighting in the welterweight division at 21, it's like when you get the higher divisions, power is very, not that it's essential, but you have to have strength in order to compete, especially for the style that Shimon has. You look at Shimon's tape, and you also look at his credentials. He's a BJJ champion, European champion. He's not very good with the offensive wrestling. That's one thing I noticed immediately. Malott, on the other hand, continuously training in BJJ all through the layoff that he had. He had a 3-year layoff. He remained active, and I think one thing that Shimon has that is his weapon really to win this fight is his submission, his ground game. I don't know why this fight is, I don't look at Tapology votes, but like the Tapology is weighing in favor of Shimon, and I don't see that at all. I think the pick is very obvious here, but I don't like the uncomfortability of my own pick, if that makes any sense. Malott coming off a massive layoff. He fought Solomon Renfro, who I thought was already Contender Series ready because he was 6-0 at the time, steamrolling through everyone basically with a very good amateur record. And then Malott comes fucking knocking on his door. Granted, he does get tagged, but he comes off a 3-year layoff and he submits him. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything though. Malott was getting tagged in that fight a little bit, but it's understandable, right? He's coming off a layoff. I'm sure he hasn't gotten in full exchanges. Hard sparring is completely different. But what happens in that fight is Malott counters Renfro off a leg kick. And Shimon loves to throw single leg kicks, so I could see him getting countered in this fight pretty bad. Like I said, his striking isn't necessarily the best. But going back to Malott, his fighting style has changed completely. Like if you try to look at footage, like of his loss against Hakeem Dawodu, you see him brawling. And if you know me, Hakeem Dawodu, that man thrives in brawls. He's a very good striker. But for the little time that Malott was in there with Renfro, he was composed, very reactive, and once he dropped Renfro, he took the back immediately, man. So it seems like he had ring rust in those first couple minutes, feeling out process, but he was very much in it. I don't think there's any doubts about his rust here. But yeah, like Shimon's striking, his offensive wrestling, in my opinion, isn't very impressive. He reminds me of kind of like a desperate Ryan Hall in the nicest manner, like leaping in for legs, basically hugging legs in hopes that he can get the fight to the ground. It worries me, right? It seems like he's not very comfortable on the feet. Of course, his striking is going to improve. I know he's working over at Syndicate MMA with Natan Levy. But that grapple-heavy approach that I know Shimon is going to bring into this fight will not be effective against Malott. Malott is constantly participating in BJJ competitions. Like you'll see him on his Instagram, constantly posting, right? You can't compare the accolades. You could say that, Shimon has better BJJ, but I think it's not to the point where Malott won't be defensively sound against Shimon, even if Shimon manages to get him to the ground. Also, you don't like seeing the layoff from Malott, but one thing, he's out of Team Alpha Male. He coaches there. Sometimes you'll see him in Song Yadong's corner. So he's gaining different perspectives, and that's always good to see, especially with layoffs. He's always got fighting on his mind. With that being said, I feel like this stays on the feet, and Malott either KOs him or gets like a split-second submission after dropping him with a counter after a leg kick. And it's weird because Tapology is so heavy in favor of Shimon, and I don't see that at all. I don't like Shimon's offensive wrestling, and I favor Malott striking very heavily. Maybe you'll see people voting, like coming in on Mike Malott on Typology, and then things will even out. But let's see if I'm wrong on Tuesday, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.